great feeling. It's kind of like a reviving feeling.
Some guys have all the luck. One particular superstar released a triple platinum album at the tender age of 13. Then he dated Lindsay Lohan and Hilary Duff. But January 6, 2005 might have been his luckiest day of all. That was the day Aaron Carter survived celebrity near-death experience number 23. 17-year-old Carter and a friend were driving north on the Florida Turnpike at 12:30 at night. Aaron was on his way to a photo shoot in Orlando for his new single, Saturday Night.
Aaron was driving his Cadillac Escalade when he found himself behind a truck that was delivering mattresses. One of the mattresses actually flew off the truck. There was no way that Aaron could possibly avoid the mattress.
The mattress gets lodged underneath his Escalade and catches on fire. Now, he has the common sense to pull over.
According to local papers, the Escalade exploded just seconds after Aaron and his friend walked away. The luxury SUV was completely destroyed. Shortly after the event, Aaron released a statement describing his near-death experience as a whirlwind.
When you're, driving an Escalade with, gallons and gallons of gasoline, he was very lucky getting out in time.
This Sunday at 10:30, only on E!
During more than 40 years as a rock star, Keith Richards has tempted fate. But it wasn't sex or drugs that almost killed the rock and roll star. Richards confronted celebrity near-death experience number 15 while vacationing in a tropical paradise. The band just finished the Australian leg of their Bigger Bang tour.
The Rolling Stones' Bigger Bang tour is the highest-grossing tour of all time.
On April 26, 2006, 62-year-old Richards was taking a break with his family at a $6,000 a night resort on a private island in the South Pacific.
Now, Keith was up apparently 6 feet in this tree. We don't know why he was in the tree, but we do know that he was being called to lunch, so he needed to get out of the tree.
But his dismount went awry, and Richards plummeted to the ground, smacking his head against the base of the tree.
After Keith fell out of the tree, he just went about the rest of his day. There was a report that he even went jet skiing.
If you fall from a height that's around 6 feet, certainly that can be fatal.
It wasn't until later he started having some severe headaches.
The aging guitarist was airlifted 1,300 miles from Fiji to a hospital in Auckland, New Zealand. The whole family gathered at his bedside.
After being observed for a few days, they didn't see anything that was alarming.
He was released and then actually had to go back because this was a much more serious injury than they initially thought.
He was having a lot of pain, went into the hospital immediately, and they found that he had a subdural hematoma, which basically is bleeding of the brain.
Doctors scheduled emergency cranial surgery.
An incision is made in the head, a piece of the skull bone is removed, the covering of the brain is opened, and the blood clot is evacuated.
Of course, they put me out like a light. Usually I'd be hanging from the ceiling at the idea of brain surgery, But I had total confidence.
Though the operation was successful, the Stones postponed 15 dates on the next leg of their tour so Keith could recuperate.
So Keith's fine, his head's better, it's all there,
It was like, I bashed my head and went to the garage and I came out the other end. It was like, although I realize now that it was like a little more serious than that, but I tell you what, it was an experience.
As an actor, he's known for playing disturbed psychos and bad guys.
Relish life.
Even in college, he had hip-hop street cred, creating beats for Jay-Z, Britney, and Alicia Keys. But it was near-death experience number 5 that set Kanye West on the road to rap superstardom. Los Angeles, October 23rd, 2002. Kanye had just finished 3 long recording sessions on his debut album, College Dropout. It was after 3 a.m. when the rapper began the 10-minute drive back to his hotel in West Hollywood.
He was in a rented Lexus, driving in hopes of getting some sleep.
He was so exhausted from all the work that he was doing that he ended up falling asleep at the wheel.
And crashed into an SUV going 50 miles an hour.
The impact of the crash left Kanye semi-conscious in the twisted wreckage.
It's an individual who's driving a car 50 miles an hour and goes face first, jaw first into his steering wheel. Multiple things are going to be problematic.
West later told Playboy that as he came to, he caught a glimpse of his face in the rearview mirror. It was swollen and twisted, like something out of a movie.
He had broken his face in 3 places. He crushed his face and he hit his chest against the steering wheel.
An injury like that can tear all the tissue back here to the sides of the jaw, and that can be extremely dangerous. Someone could basically suffocate in their own blood in a couple of minutes.
Trapped in his car waiting for help, Kanye didn't know whether he would live or die.
I called him on his cell phone, and he answered, very first ring, but I could barely understand him. He was a, "Hello, Mom."
Paramedics finally arrived. Immediately, they fit a brace around Kanye's neck and broken jaw. In later interviews, Kanye said the pain was excruciating.
Didn't want to react because I thought, oh, if I act like I feel, then that's going to upset him.
Kanye was cut out of the car and quickly transported to the ER. Doctors surgically repaired the rapper's jaw and wired it shut. While in the hospital, Kanye learned just how close he'd come to dying.
What made this a near-death experience is the crash itself. You know, he was this far from going through the windshield.
Inspired, Kanye began writing lyrics from his hospital bed. Just 3 weeks after the crash, with his jaw still clamped shut, Kanye recorded the song Through the Wire. West said continuing to work on his album helped him through his recovery.
It was so many things I learned from it. It gave me time to work on my album to make the College Dropout what it is.
It put Kanye on the map. It made everyone pay attention. And literally overnight, he became an artist, not a producer.
So now, whenever I work as if that was going to be my last song.
In a tragic postscript, Kanye's mother Donda passed away in November 2007 following cosmetic surgery. Donda West was 58.
New this Sunday at 10:30, only on E!
Sex, drugs, rock and roll. And not necessarily in that order. Rock stars live hard and party even harder. This was the life for the members of Motley Crue, until it led bassist Nikki Sixx to celebrity near-death experience number 3.
Motley Crue in the 1980s were the biggest thing to hit music.
On December 22nd, 1987, they were in the middle of their world tour for Girls, Girls, Girls.
The Hollywood thing.
Nikki was coming back into Los Angeles, and he had $1,000 worth of heroin and crack and a case of Cristal waiting in his silver limousine when he got picked up from LAX.
Nikki headed to the Franklin Plaza Hotel in Hollywood. The hotel was a haven for the raunchiest rockers of the day.
He's never into just kinda, Motley Crue just kinda being full on. I mean, we were like all the way, 100%.
Hard drugs, lots of sex, lots of rock and roll, more drugs, more sex.
Well, when you're talking Motley Crue, drug use goes hand in hand.
Nikki was as high as he'd ever been.
All or nothing, man. Yeah.
If you become addicted to something, then you're addicted to it. Like Nikki was addicted to heroin.
For somebody to be that loaded and still be shooting up, well, then they're that close to ODing and dying.
The last shot took Nikki down.
Nikki turned blue, and they knew that they had a problem. They called 911. He was in the ambulance.
When the person turns blue, then there's no oxygen going to the brain, and you're already almost past the point of no return.
Part of him really wanted to die, especially for an excessive heroin user. Dancing with death is a daily dance.
The rock star was declared dead on the way to the hospital.
In a situation of an overdose, the overdose can actually cause the heart to stop. We need to get the heart started again.
One determined medic plunged 2 shots of adrenaline into the rock star's heart.
Multiple shots of adrenaline help the heart to get started again.
Nicky's life was saved. He opened his eyes and saw the 2 massive needles sticking out of his chest. Then he passed out again. The next time Nicky opened his eyes, he was in a hospital bed. 6 ripped out his IV and left Cedars-Sinai wearing only a pair of leather pants.
Came back home, changed his answering machine to say, "Hey, Rich Nicky, I'm not home because I'm dead." And then he started doing heroin again, the same night.
All they care about is getting that fix because they feel so horrific when they come out of the coma. So the first thing they're going to do is go get more drugs.
The band's manager found Nicky passed out with a needle sticking out of his arm and covered in his own blood. It was time for a change.
They called a meeting and they all decided to go into rehab together.
That's probably one of the only ways to really get sober, because by doing it as a group, everybody is in the same ballpark. They're all dealing with the same issues.
Within months, the band was back to making music. Nicky's near-death experience inspired the Crew hit, Kickstart My Heart. These days, Six is clean and sober. He recounted his descent into drug addiction in his book, The Heroin Diaries.
There's a lot of graphic images in the book, really literally like showing the darkness, the very dark side of Nicky.
This is one rocker who lived fast and died young, then came back to tell the tale.
You know, you think about being from there to here, and it's quite a journey.
In the violent world of gangster rap, #1 with a bullet is not just an expression, it's a business plan. Surviving a gunshot wound can win you street cred, but surviving 9 of them? That lands 50 Cent on our list as celebrity near-death experience #2. 50 Cent was born Curtis Jackson. By the age of 8, he was an orphan. By the age of 12, he was a drug dealer.
He was raised by his mother, who was a drug addict, and some have said a drug dealer.
His mother was a prostitute who was killed when she was 23.
He shot his first person in junior high. He really had a tough going of it, and when you kind of expect that something bad is going to happen.
In 1994, Jackson was arrested for possessing heroin and crack cocaine. Jackson signed a plea agreement and was sentenced to 6 months in a boot camp.
The reason that Curtis Jackson changed his name to 50 Cent was it really metaphorically is for change, like in your pocket.
In 1996, 50 started recording tracks with established rap stars like Jam Master Jay. 3 years later, 50 Cent signed a deal with Columbia Records.
Jam Master Jay was instrumental in getting him that deal. He had, you know, some decent songs by then, but again, no real buzz.
The morning of May 24th, 2000, a brush with death changed 50 Cent's life.
50 and his friends are outside his grandmother's house in Queens, and they're getting ready to go to a tattoo parlor.
They spotted 50 outside his grandmother's home and opened fire on him as he sat in that car, hitting him 9 times.
1 round through the hand took off a knuckle. Another bullet went into his cheek and took out a wisdom tooth. 50 was hit in the chest, the calf, and the hip before his attackers sped away.
Yeah, I was trying to get out the way. And glass and stuff flying because the window shot through the window of the car. I just said, pull off, pull off. And we pulled off, and my friend drove me to the hospital.
The ailing rapper was wheeled into the ER. he was barely breathing.
50 Cent being shot that many times in as vital areas as he was, the chance of surviving that is actually extremely unlikely. And the fact that he made that through was nothing short of a miracle.
Just 6 weeks after the near-fatal shooting, 50 was up and moving with the aid of a walker. But there was bad news.
Columbia dropped him after the shooting.
Soon, 50 had a new record deal with superstar rapper Eminem and a new outlook.
Being affiliated with Dr. Dre and Eminem has given me a shot to be recognized by mainstream America without compromising myself.
In 2003, 50 Cent released his first hit record, Get Rich or Die Tryin'. The album sold more than 6 million copies and spawned a movie of the same name.
Fans like nothing more than the rap artists who have had a near-death experience.
When someone is shot 9 times and walks away from it, you know, it's an unbelievable miracle.
50 credits his near-death experience with breathing life into his career. The bulletproof vest the rapper sometimes wears on stage has become a trademark.
Yeah, absolutely. Every day.
Coming up, an unbelievable story of survival. Our #1 celebrity near-death experience when we return.